All right, so we've got a question here about boosting the house battery charging setup on a Volvo Penta D2-55-B
Okay.
and maybe even ditching the generator altogether.
Nice.
We're talking about a pretty sizable 600 amp hour house bank.
Wow. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good chunk of power.
So the big question is adding a second alternator the best way to go about it?
Right.
We're going to dig into that today with some expert insights from the folks over at Electromaax.
Yeah, they know marine electrical systems like the back of their hand.
They really do.
So it's a pretty common, desire for boat owners. I think you want more power, but you don't want to overcomplicate things at the same time, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe we should start by thinking about the limitations of that stock alternator you've already got.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It's really designed to keep that starter battery happy and handle a few basic loads.
Yeah, the essentials.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But with a house bank that big, it's almost like trying to fill a bathtub with a teaspoon.
That's a good analogy.
It's going to take a while, and it might not even be the best way to use your engine's energy.
Right. So it would seem like adding a second alternator is the next logical step, right? Dedicated power just for the house bank, keep everything nice and separate. Problem solved.
On the surface, yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah.
But let's think about some potential downsides before we jump all in.
Okay.
The Volvo Penta D2-55-B,
Okay.
especially the newer models, it has a 5-groove serpentine belt system. Think of it like a single-lane highway trying to handle rush hour traffic, and then you're adding another high-output alternator on top of that.
Yeah.
It's like adding a ton more cars.
So you're basically
You could be putting
a lot of stress on that belt.
way too much stress. Yeah, and that leads to wear and tear and slippage and even snapping.
Yeah. And that's not a fun thing to deal with out on the water.
No, not at all. And even if the belt somehow miraculously holds up, you're still putting extra strain on the engine itself. More load means more wear on the bearings, more heat, and potentially even reduced engine life overall.
Yeah, I guess we don't want to be burning out our engine.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the complexity of actually installing and wiring a second alternator.
Right.
It's not always a simple plug-and-play kind of thing.
Yeah, I imagine it gets pretty complicated.
It can be, and it adds another potential point of failure into the system.
So maybe 2 alternators is not the magical solution we were hoping for.
Right.
What about upgrading to a single, super powerful alternator?
That's definitely a more elegant solution, I think.
Okay, I like it.
When we talk about super powerful, we're talking about an alternator with much higher output and smarter technology.
Okay.
So instead of having 2 separate systems,
Yeah.
we just replace that stock alternator with one high output unit and pair it with a smart regulator and a DC to DC charger.
Okay, so break that down for me.
Sure.
Why the smart regulator and the DC to DC charger?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
The smart regulator is really key here because it optimizes the charging process for your specific type and size of batteries.
Oh, so it's like customized.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a personal trainer for your battery bank, making sure they're getting just the right amount of charge at just the right time.
I like that.
And that maximizes their lifespan and their efficiency.
Awesome. So they stay healthy and they last longer.
Exactly. And then that DC to DC charger acts as a dedicated power line for your starter battery, making sure it stays topped up, even while the high output alternator is busy taking care of that house bank.
So it's like it's got its own little dedicated power source.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're talking smarter, charging less clutter in the engine compartment, and potentially happier, longer-lasting batteries.
Yeah, much happier batteries.
But doesn't this approach sacrifice redundancy? If that single alternator goes down, aren't we out of luck?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
You do lose that backup of having 2 alternators. But think about it this way. High-quality modern alternators are designed to be very reliable. And with proper maintenance, the risk of failure is pretty low.
Okay, that makes sense.
Plus, with a single well-maintained unit, you avoid all those potential issues with belt loads and dual system complexity.
You're simplifying things.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm starting to see the appeal of this single upgrade approach.
Good.
But before we jump to conclusions, is there a best of both worlds solution?
Ooh, I like how you're thinking.
Something that offers high output and redundancy without all those downsides.
There is.
Well, tell me.
And this is where things get really interesting.
Okay, I'm ready.
Imagine 2 high-output alternators both feeding into your house bank.
All right.
It's like having a twin-engine powerboat.
I like it.
You've got tons of power to spare,
Yeah.
and if one engine goes down, you can still cruise along just fine.
So you're never stranded.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm picturing this twin alternator setup. Sounds incredibly powerful, but also potentially complex and expensive.
Yeah, it's definitely the premium option, but the benefits are hard to ignore.
Yeah, for sure.
First and foremost, you've got that true redundancy.
Right.
If one alternator fails, the other one seamlessly takes over.
Nice.
Keeps your house bank charged and all your systems running.
Everything's happy.
Exactly. Plus, with two alternators sharing the load, you can get efficient charging even at lower engine RPMs.
So you don't have to rev the engine up as high.
Exactly. No need to overwork things.
And I know our listeners dreaming of a generator-free existence.
Right.
So this sounds like a dream come true.
It could be. With that kind of charging power, you could significantly reduce, maybe even eliminate generator reliance altogether.
So no more noisy generator runs, no more exhaust fumes.
Exactly.
No more worrying about fuel for the generator.
Right.
So this is pretty appealing.
It is, and the balance load on the engine reduces wear and tear, and less heat buildup means longer component life.
So it's a win-win.
It's an investment in peace of mind, efficiency, and long-term reliability.
I like it. All right. So we've got three options on the table now. The tempting but potentially problematic second alternator, the streamlined single upgrade with smart charging, and the powerhouse twin alternator setup.
Yep.
Now, I know our listeners specifically dealing with that Volvo Penta D2-55-B and a 600 amp hour house bank. Is there a solution that stands out as a good fit?
There is.
Ooh, tell me.
Electromaax has developed something really special. It's called the GenMax, and it's a 215 amp alternator that also functions as a generator.
The GenMax, okay. I'm intrigued. What makes this alternator/generator so special?
Well, first of all, it's specifically designed for marine environments and modern battery types, you know, like the big AGM or lithium-ion banks we're seeing more and more these days.
Yeah, those are definitely gaining popularity.
Right, and it addresses a lot of the concerns we've been talking about.
Okay.
For example, it packs a serious punch. 168 amps, continuous output.
Wow.
That's enough to handle most boats' daily energy needs.
So it can handle the demands.
Yeah, and even power some pretty serious appliances.
Okay, so plenty of power for our listeners, 600 amp hour bank.
For sure.
But what about the installation challenges we talked about with a second alternator?
Right.
The belt load, the extra wiring, the potential engine strain.
That's where the GenMax really shines.
Okay, I like it.
It's designed to directly replace your existing alternator.
Oh, so it's a straight swap.
Yeah, so it mounts right onto the engine's existing brackets and uses the same belt drive.
Okay.
No need for any modifications or extra hardware.
This is a much simpler install.
Much simpler, and because it's a single unit, there's no complex wiring or extra points of failure to worry about.
So we're simplifying things and reducing the risk of something going wrong.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're talking simplified installation, reduced engine strain. But how does this single unit compare to the power and redundancy of that twin alternator setup we talked about?
That's a great question.
Yeah?
While the GenMax doesn't offer the absolute redundancy of two separate alternators, it does have some unique advantages.
Okay, tell me.
Remember, this isn't just a high-output alternator, it's also a generator.
Oh, right.
What that means is it can produce a lot of power even at low engine speeds.
Sure.
Something traditional alternators really struggle with.
So even when you're just idling, you're still generating enough power to keep those batteries topped up.
Exactly.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's a game changer for reducing or even eliminating generator reliance.
I like it.
Think about it. No more noisy generator runs.
Peace and quiet.
Right. No more exhaust fumes.
Cleaner air.
And no more worrying about whether you have enough fuel for both your engine and generator.
So it simplifies things on multiple levels.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm starting to see why you called this a game changer.
Good.
But what about the actual charging process itself? Does the GenMax have that same smart technology we talked about with a single upgrade option?
Yep.
You know those smart regulators that keep the batteries happy and healthy?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good.
The GenMax comes with these advanced charging profiles that are tailored to different battery types.
Oh, so it's customized.
Exactly, including AGM gel-flooded lead acid and lithium-ion.
So it covers all the bases.
It does, and this ensures that your batteries are charged safely and efficiently, extending their lifespan and maximizing their performance.
So we're getting the most out of those batteries.
Right, and it also has some built-in protection features to prevent overcharging and other issues that could damage your batteries.
So it's like it's got safeguards in place?
Yeah, think of it as a safety net for your batteries.
I like it. So we've got high output,
Uh-huh.
easy installation, generator-like capabilities,
Yep.
and smart charging technology, all in one compact unit.
It's the whole package.
It sounds like Electromaax really thought of everything with this GenMax.
They did, and they've even gone the extra mile to make sure it's reliable and durable in that harsh marine environment.
Okay, because saltwater and electronics don't always mix.
The GenMax has dual internal fans for enhanced cooling and a special saltwater-resistant coating to protect against corrosion.
So it's built tough.
It is. And if that wasn't enough,
Wow.
Electromaax is known for their excellent customer support.
That's always a plus.
Yeah, they offer free telephone support throughout the entire installation process
Oh, wow.
to make sure everything goes smoothly.
That peace of mind is really invaluable.
It is, especially when you're dealing with something as critical as your boat's electrical system.
Absolutely. And considering our listeners' goal of reducing generator dependence,
Right.
I think the GenMax is a pretty compelling solution.
I agree. It's a solution that tackles a lot of the challenges we've talked about,
Yeah.
and it offers a good balance of power efficiency and peace of mind.
So to recap, we've explored several options for boosting that house battery charging, adding a second alternator, upgrading to a single high-output alternator,
Right.
going all out with a twin alternator setup.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have this intriguing GenMax from Electromaax.
It's a good one.
It seems like each option has its own trade-offs. But this GenMax seems to hit a sweet spot,
Yeah.
offering high-output, simplified installation, generator-like capabilities, and smart charging, all in a package designed to handle that marine environment.
I agree. It's a solution that really addresses a lot of the challenges we've been discussing.
Yeah.
It offers a nice balance of power efficiency and peace of mind.
Ultimately, the best choice depends on your priorities and your budget.
Right.
But for someone with a large house bank and the desire to minimize generator use, I think the GenMax is definitely worth a serious look.
I would agree with that.
I think we've given our listener a lot to think about.
Hopefully.
And if they're ready to explore the GenMax further,
Yeah.
or just want to learn more about marine electrical solutions in general, where should they go?
Head over to electromaax.com.
Perfect.
They've got tons of information on the GenMax,
Yeah.
including detailed specs, installation guides, and even a dealer locator so you can find a qualified installer in your area.
So it's a one-stop shop for all your GenMax needs.
It is a great resource for anyone who's looking to upgrade their boat's electrical system.
Fantastic. And with all this talk about high output alternators and minimizing generator use, it makes me wonder, are we seeing a shift in how we power our boats?
It's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I think we are.
Are we moving towards a future where generators become less essential, maybe even obsolete on some boats?
That's a fascinating thought.
It's definitely an interesting time to be a boater, that's for sure.
It is.
I'm feeling pretty energized after learning about all this.
Me too.
Who knew alternators could be so fascinating?
Right. They're often overlooked, but they're so important.
Yeah, they really are the heart of your boat's electrical system.
Exactly. And like we said, the technology is changing so fast.
Yeah, it's really incredible.
It's opening up all these new possibilities for how we power our boats.
Absolutely. So for our listener who's ready to upgrade that Volvo Penta and maybe say goodbye to that noisy generator,
It's a good feeling.
what's the next step?
I'd say head over to electromaax.com.
Perfect.
They've got a ton of information on the GenMax and other high-output alternators and just a wide range of marine electrical solutions in general.
Yeah, it's a great resource.
You can check out the specs read installation guides and even find authorized dealers and installers near you.
Awesome. So for anyone listening who's feeling inspired to learn more about their boat's electrical system, what's one piece of advice you'd give them?
I'd say don't be afraid to ask questions and really learn about the different options out there.
Yeah, knowledge is power.
It is, especially when it comes to keeping those batteries charged and your boat running smoothly.
Couldn't agree more. Talk to marine electricians, read forums, explore manufacturers' websites.
Exactly.
There's so much information out there.
There is.
Great advice. And remember, folks, a little knowledge about your boat's electrical system can go a long way.
It really can.
It can make your boating experience safer, more enjoyable,
For sure.
and maybe even a little quieter.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep those batteries charged, the horizon's wide, and the deep dive's coming.